Abu, come to the microphone, Abu.
Yes, sir. Good morning to everybody.
Good morning, sir. What are you doing here? What are your thoughts? I sent you the link.
Hey, somebody sent me the link.
I'm a troublemaker. What are your thoughts?
See, I'm afraid that the thoughts that I had when you sent me the link, we've moved past them. But I was in the chat when you sent me the link, and I was asking questions about definitions. I think a lot of these points that are being brought up do beg questions about definitions. Like, for example, or just clarifying questions. Like, for example, what Mike said about, the church being the Israel of God. I agree 100% with that. And Dante said he agreed with him. I think a question that's important to ask is, for example, is the Israel, excuse me, let me phrase that, is the tree in Romans 11, is that Israel? Is the woman in Revelation 12, is that Israel? And how we answer these questions can have an impact on to what extent we agree with these notions of what Israel is, especially within a New Testament context. That's one thing. And then also when people talk about natural branches and wild branches and try to apply it to a modern setting, it sort of begs a question of our definition of Israelite, because we're understanding a natural branch to be an ethnic Israelite, if I'm not mistaken. And it begs the question, are we using that in the sense of a strictly patrilineal concept of Israelite, or is it a multilineal concept of Israelite where any line of lineage going back to Jacob is sufficient, or is it something else? I think these questions are also important if we're going to even attempt to say, well, this person's a natural branch and this modern person isn't. Those are some preliminary questions I had.
Y'all keep talking. They calling me right now. I said I was gonna go to Home Depot, mess around with y'all folk right here. Y'all keep talking. You want to answer that? Dante, who else is in here? Pastor Johnson. Hello, did I mute everybody?
Oh. No, you didn't mute everybody.
No, I don't have nothing to say to Abu. I don't respect Abu at all, and here's why. Abu says it's not about the nationality and all that for him, and yet he was on with Orthodox More the other day discussing my personal DNA, and yet he says it's not about the nationality claim.
Orthodox More is in here. They were talking about you the other day on what channel?
I think I spoke about Dante very respectfully. I don't think I disrespected you during Orthodox
More. My thing is, you said you're not interested in the DNA at all, but my other thing is, you said that me being E1B gives me a good possibility of being Israel, right?
Yeah, I stand by that. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm descending paternally from Jacob.
Wait, why didn't you call out faithful to God when he said that I have no chance of being Israel because I'm E1B1B?
I didn't know he said that. If he said that, then anyone who says that is mistaken. I'll say that now. I didn't know he said that. Let's say this.
All right, he publicly. All right, go ahead.
But wait, so to be fair, I did. So Dante at least acknowledges that I said that with him being E1B1B, he has a decent probability of descending paternally from Jacob, and also being part of like an east to west migration across Africa. How is that disrespectful, though? I said it without you calling me out, and I think it was respectful.
A lot of the stuff you've done, not just that specific thing, but you saying it's not about DNA, and then you discuss DNA. You say there's no language on the pews, and yet you're not calling out anybody saying that it's Arabic on the pews. See, to me, there's a lot of double talk happening.
No, but that's okay that he's in the community and you can bring this up as he's someone that's involved in the community. It's fine that you bring that up, that he can address it now with some public stuff that need to be aired out respectfully. Go ahead.
If I could say one thing about the nationality thing, ultimately it doesn't matter to me in the sense of lineage. Lineage is irrelevant to me because of the definition that I hold to. Like I hold to a very ecclesiastical definition of Israelite, similar to what Mike was saying earlier. I think the Israel of God, which is alluded to also in Romans 9:6, but he was quoting Galatians 6. But in Romans 9:6, I think there's this allusion to that there is an ecclesiastical Israel. So I don't care about people's lineage. That's why I don't fight with people about their lineage claims. Like I'm never going to tell anyone.
How did DNA thing came up?
Yeah. So, but the thing is, I do have an interest in discussing methodology and asking clarifying questions. But I've never gone out and tried to tell someone they don't descend from who they claim to descend or anything like that. Ultimately, it's irrelevant to me. But I do like to discuss sometimes the methodology. I'm more interested in language. But every now and then, I do like to delve into these other subjects, at least to try to clarify.
You got the roof straight now?
Brother Boo,